Tonight is not about searching for something missing. It is a quiet turning toward what you already know. You have been carrying it for a long time. So long. It feels like part of your body. The simple truth is this: holding on gets tiring. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just slowly, day after day. You understand this in your head. You see the change. You see it clearly, but your body has not caught up yet. Your chest still tightens. Your thoughts still return. This is not because you are weak. It is because you have cared. Caring leaves marks. Even after things shift, the marks remain. Maybe it is one person, someone you think about more than you want. Not because they are here, but because they used to be. You know the connection has changed. You know it cannot be the same again. Yet at night, the mind replays small moments. A look, a word, a silence. You are not trying to suffer. You are simply still holding. In Buddhist wisdom, there is a gentle teaching. Everything that comes together will change. Nothing stays fixed. Not feelings, not roles, not even the stories we tell ourselves. Suffering does not come from caring. It comes from gripping what is already loosening. This is not a moral lesson. It is just how the heart works. Now, here you are. In this moment, the day has mostly fallen away. Sounds are softer. Lights are lower. The world is resting, but the mind is still moving. Thoughts arrive without knocking. They circle. They linger. You are not alone in this. Right now, others are listening too. Different lives, different stories. The same quiet ache of holding. If it feels right, you might leave a simple note, just where you are listening from. Not for attention, just to feel grounded, just to remember others are here. This space is not about fixing anything. It is about sitting with what is true. In the moments ahead, I will share simple stories, stories of ordinary people, people who learned, slowly, to loosen their grip, not by force, but by understanding. You do not need to decide anything tonight. You only need to listen. Let the body settle as the stories unfold. Let the mind rest where it can. There is nothing you must hold right now. Just stay here and listen. Story 1. The cup left on the desk. The room is quiet now. Long after the lights of the office have dimmed, a single cup rests on the desk, still holding the warmth of earlier hours. An older clerk once stayed late like this, long after others had gone home. He believed rest must be earned, and he was never finished earning it. His shoulders carried unfinished tasks. His mind replayed conversations without end. Even when the building slept, his thoughts kept typing themselves. One evening, a monk passing through stopped nearby. He noticed the light still on. He did not interrupt, only waited, breathing gently. At last, the clerk looked up. "I cannot stop thinking," he said quietly. "The work follows me everywhere." 19 The monk pointed to the cup. "It has done its work," he said softly. "It held what it could." "Water," the clerk frowned, still gripping his papers. "But it is not empty," he replied. "There is more to hold." Me," the monk smiled with tired eyes. "Yet the cup is already full," he said. "If you pour more, it spills." Ozo, the clerk felt something loosen. Not solved, not fixed, just a small space opening. That night, he left the cup behind. He left the desk as it was. The world did not end. And walking home, He felt lighter, not because work vanished, but because he stopped carrying it alone. Tonight, you may still be holding your cup. You may feel it is not empty yet, but rest does not require completion. Sometimes, the kindest act is placing the cup down and letting tomorrow arrive on its own. Story 2. The bridge at dusk. A narrow bridge crossed a quiet river. Used daily by those returning from labor, an aging farmer crossed it each evening, counting steps, counting worries. His harvest had been uncertain that year. Rain came late. Money felt tight. Sleep came later still. Each night, he stopped mid-bridge. He stared into moving water, searching for answers there. One dusk, a traveling nun walked beside him. She noticed his pause and matched her steps to his breath. "You cross slowly," she said gently. "Yes," he answered. "I am afraid of falling." 8-9. She nodded, listening without hurry. "The bridge is strong," she said, "but your mind keeps walking ahead." Together, the farmer sighed. "I cross it before I cross it," he said. They stood together, listening to water. No advice came quickly. No urgency stirred. Finally, she spoke. "The river moves, whether you watch or not," she said. "So do your thoughts." Enthused. "Then what should I do?" he asked. "Feel the wood beneath your feet," she replied. "Just this step." He did. And then another. The bridge held. That night, his worries still existed, but they did not walk ahead of him. Tonight, you may be standing mid-bridge too. Let the next step be enough. The rest will follow when it is ready. Story 3. The quiet bell. A small bell hung outside a monastery kitchen. It rang softly with the evening breeze. A cook often paused to listen, though meals still waited. His days were full of demands. People wanted more than he could give. He carried their hunger into sleep. One night, he stayed awake long after dishes cooled. The bell rang again, clear, unhurried. An elder monk sat nearby, hands folded, eyes half closed. "You hear it too?" the cook said. "Yes," the monk replied. "It rings without effort. I wish my mind could do that." End quote. The cook whispered. The monk smiled. "The bell does not try to be quiet," he said. "It simply hangs." 8. They sat together, breathing, no fixing, no striving. The cook felt the day release slightly, like steam leaving a pot. Tonight, you may hear your own bell. It is already ringing. All you must do is hang and let the sound pass through. Story 4. The unsent letter. A woman kept a letter in her drawer, written years ago, never sent. It held regret and explanation, carefully folded and refolded. Each night, she thought of adding more. One afternoon, she visited a temple garden. An elderly monk swept fallen leaves. Again and again, she watched until her chest softened. "I cannot let go," she confessed. The monk placed leaves into a basket. "They fall whether we approve or not," he said. "What about words?" she asked. "They stay." In 12, he nodded. "Until you stop holding them," he replied. She did not burn the letter. She did not tear it. She simply left it where it was. That night, sleep came sooner. Not perfect, but kinder. Some things do not need sending. They only need resting. Story 5. The lamp by the bed. A lamp glowed softly beside an old teacher's bed. He left it on each night, even when tired. Students asked why. "The dark is not an enemy," he said, "but rushing into it can be." I think he had lived through loss, through doubt, through nights that felt endless. The lamp reminded him to arrive slowly, to meet rest without force. Tonight, you may keep your own lamp. A breath, a thought, a gentle presence. Sleep does not demand surrender. It comes when invited kindly. Story 6. The market at closing. Stalls closed one by one as evening fell. A merchant counted coins with shaking hands. It was never enough. A monk passing by paused. "Are you finished?" he asked. The merchant shook his head. "There is always more to count." "Is little enough?" The monk nodded. "And always more time tomorrow," he said. The merchant closed the box. The coins waited patiently inside. Tonight, your thoughts can wait too. Nothing essential will be lost. Story 7. The cracked bowl. A bowl with a crack was used daily. Water leaked slowly. Steadily, the monk who owned it smiled. "It teaches patience," he said, "and honesty." Nothing held forever. Nothing needed to. Tonight, you do not have to be unbroken. Rest flows even through cracks. Story 8. The long road home. A traveler walked home each night, counting worries instead of stars. One evening, an old voice said, "Look up. In more." He did. The road did not disappear, but it felt shorter. Tonight, lift your gaze gently. The way is still there. Story 9. The room without clocks. A meditation hall had no clocks. People arrived anxious. They left softer. Time was still passing, but no one chased it. Tonight, you may rest outside counting. Sleep knows the way without measuring. Story 10. The last cushion. An elder placed one last cushion on the floor. He sat slowly, gratefully. "This is enough," he said quietly. Nothing more was needed. Tonight, you are enough too. Let rest arrive, as it always has, when the holding finally loosens. Story 11. The window that stayed open. The window stayed open long after evening arrived. Cool air moved the curtain. Slowly, patiently, an elderly man sat nearby, breathing with the night. He had spent his life closing things. Doors, accounts, arguments. At work, he was known for control. At home, for silence. Inside, for a tightness that never slept. One night, a neighbor asked why the window stayed open. "Cold gets in," she said. "Yes," he replied softly, "and so does fresh air." Private, he remembered years of holding everything shut. Pain, grief, unspoken regret. Closing felt safer, but it also trapped him. As the breeze touched his face, he felt memories rise and pass. Nothing demanded fixing. The night did not rush him, neither did the air. Some things must move through. 80, he whispered to himself. Tonight, you may open a small window, not to solve anything, just to breathe. Rest comes easier when nothing is forced to stay inside. Story 12. The bench near the bus stop. A worn bench waited near the bus stop. People sat with tired bodies and busy minds. An old woman sat there every evening. She no longer rushed home. No one waited. No schedule pressed her. A young man sat beside her once. Restless, he checked his phone again and again. Missed something? She asked gently. I am always missing something, he said. She nodded slowly. I used to think that too. Awed, they watched buses arrive and leave. None were hers. None were his. The bench holds us without asking, she said. It does not hurry us away. In the vans, the man felt his shoulders drop, just a little. When his bus came, he smiled, not relieved, just present. Tonight, you may rest on the bench of this moment. Nothing is required. The ride will come when it comes. Story 13. The teapot that whistled. A teapot whistled softly on the stove. Steam rose in thin white lines. An old monk listened carefully. He did not rush to lift it. He did not silence it. A visitor asked why he waited. It is only a sound. The monk said, It tells me water is ready. And the visitor frowned. My thoughts whistle like that, he said. The monk smiled. Then listen, he replied. They sat until the sound softened. Nothing boiled over. Thoughts do the same. When not fought. Tonight, let the mind whistle. You do not have to rush. Readiness arrives naturally. Story 14. The old coat. An old coat hung by the door. Worn. Familiar. A woman reached for it each morning. Even after buying a new one, the old coat remembered her shape. The new one felt strange. A teacher once noticed, You trust what has held you, he said. She nodded. Embarrassed. I know it is time, she whispered. Yes, he said kindly. And knowing takes time too. Well, that winter, she wore both. Some days old, some days new. Tonight, you may still wear what once kept you warm. Change does not demand speed, only honesty. Story 15. The garden gate. A small gate led into a quiet garden. It was never locked, yet few entered. A caretaker swept paths each morning. Leaves fell again each night. Someone asked why he bothered. The gate is always open, they said. Yes, he replied. And so is the work. In tried, the garden did not need perfection, only care. Tonight, your mind may feel like that garden. Thoughts return. That is not failure. Gentle tending is enough. Story 16. The candle by the sink. A candle burned beside the sink. Its light reflected in running water. A tired nurse washed her hands slowly, each movement deliberate. The day had been heavy. Faces stayed with her. She watched the flame steady itself. She breathed out. The candle did not remove the day, but it softened the edge. Tonight, you may find one small light. It does not fix everything. It helps you rest anyway. Story 17. The quiet train car. One train car was nearly empty. Late hour. Soft hum of motion. An older man sat alone, watching darkness pass. No destination rushed him. A conductor passed quietly. Everything all right? He asked. Yes, the man said. I am being carried. We have fine. Tonight. Let yourself be carried a while. You do not always need to steer. Story 18. The stone in the pocket. A smooth stone lived in a pocket, carried for years. A woman rubbed it during stress, meetings, difficult calls. One evening, she forgot it at home. Nothing collapsed. She smiled later, surprised. The steadiness had moved inside. Tonight, you may loosen your grip. What supports you is already here. Story 19. The long pause. A teacher paused before answering. Students grew uncomfortable. Finally, someone spoke. "Aren't you going to respond?" "I am," he said softly. "This is part of it." Intuit. Silence settled. Understanding followed. Tonight, pauses are allowed. They hold wisdom too. Story 20. The path that waited. A path wound through tall trees, used daily, yet never worn out. An elder walked it slowly. Evening after evening, he did not hurry home. "The path waits," he said. "So do I. It's not tonight. Nothing is chasing you. Rest is patient. It will meet you where you are." Story 21. The chair facing the morning. A wooden chair faced the window every morning. It had done so for many years. The man who owned it rose early, long before the street made noise. He sat without agenda. No book, no phone, just breath and light. In his working years, mornings were rushed. Coffee swallowed heatlessly. News filled his chest with weight. Now retired, the habits lingered. His body woke early anyway. His thoughts lined up like tasks. At first, he tried to plan. Then he tried to empty his mind. Neither worked. One morning, he noticed the chair itself. Scratches on the legs. A loose joint that still held. The chair did not complain about age. It did not wish to be new. It simply faced the window. Light slowly arrived. Not all at once. No announcement. The man felt something soften. His thoughts did not disappear. They simply lost urgency. A memory surfaced. An old teacher once said, "Morning does not need improvement. It's a..." The man breathed that sentence in. He let the chair carry him. Some mornings, sadness sat with him. Some mornings, gratitude. Both were allowed. He stopped asking mornings to fix him. He let them meet him instead. Tonight, you may be tired of fixing. You may sit with what arrives. Rest comes easier when nothing is demanded of the light. Story 22. The shelf above the sink. A narrow shelf sat above the kitchen sink. It held 3 simple bowls, used daily, washed carefully. A woman lived alone now. Not lonely, just quiet in a new way. For years, the shelf held many things. Mugs, plates, reminders of shared meals. After the change, she cleared it slowly, one item at a time, never all at once. At night, she noticed the shelf most, the empty space above the sink, the echo of old routines. One evening, a visiting nun stayed for tea. They washed bowls together. "You kept only 3, the nun observed. "Yes," the woman said. "They are enough." "It's a low," the nun nodded. "Enough is a living number," she said. "It changes with honesty. Makur, later, alone again." The woman touched the wood of the shelf. It felt steady. She realized the shelf had not lost purpose. It had gained breath. That night, sleep came without replaying. The shelf held nothing extra. Neither did she. Tonight, you may clear one small space, not to erase the past, but to let the present breathe. Story 23. The slow elevator. An elevator moved slowly in an old building. No music, just the hum of cables. People complained often, pressed buttons repeatedly, checked watches. An elderly janitor rode it daily. Up, down, never rushed. One afternoon, a young worker sighed loudly. "This thing takes forever," he said. The janitor smiled gently. "It always arrives," he replied. They stood together between floors. The pause felt long, uncomfortable. The janitor watched the numbers light up, one by one, unskipped. "Waiting shows us ourselves," he said quietly. The doors opened. Nothing bad had happened. That night, the worker noticed his own breath, slowing without instruction. Tonight, delays may visit you too. They are not punishments. They are invitations to soften. Story 31. The porch light at midnight. The porch light stayed on long after midnight. A soft yellow circle rested on the ground. Moths moved slowly through it. Never hurried. Never lost. An elderly man sat inside, watching through the glass. Sleep had not come easily these past years. His mind liked to review old conversations, especially the unfinished ones. He told himself he should rest. He told himself it was too late to think. But telling did not help. So he watched the light instead. It did not argue with the dark. It did not try to become the sun. Years ago, his teacher had said something simple. "Light does not chase darkness," she said. "It just stays." Oives, the man felt that truth settled slowly. His thoughts still wandered, but they softened around the glow. He noticed his breathing. In, out. No correction needed. Outside, a moth rested briefly on the glass, then drifted away. The man smiled. Nothing stayed forever, not even wakefulness. When sleep finally came, it arrived like a guest, not like a command. Tonight, if your mind circles old light, let it. Rest will find you when staying is enough. Story 32. The shoes by the door. A pair of worn shoes waited by the door. Mud on the soles. Creases shaped by years of walking. A woman removed them each night with care. She placed them side by side, as if thanking them. Her days were long. Meetings, deadlines, endless decisions. At night, her feet still felt busy, as if the ground had not let go. One evening, she remembered an old monk she met once. He had laughed when she apologized for being tired. "Feet, remember," he said kindly. "Give them permission to stop." End quote. Now, she loosened the laces slowly. She rolled her ankles. She felt the floor. The shoes did not ask her to plan tomorrow. They simply rested. She rested with them. Tonight, you may set your shoes down too. The path will wait. The ground will still be there. Story 33. The cupboard with one bowl. A small cupboard opened with a soft creak. Inside sat one ceramic bowl. Blue glaze. Slightly uneven rim. A monk lived alone in a mountain hut. He once had many bowls. Gifts from grateful visitors. Over time, he gave them away. Not from discipline, from relief. At night, he ate slowly. Rice. Warm water. Nothing extra. A traveler once asked, "Is this enough?" The monk looked at the bowl, then at the traveler, then smiled. "It meets me," he said. That night, the traveler slept deeply. No inventory, no comparison. Tonight, what meets you may be enough, not perfect, just present. Story 34. The clock without sound. An old clock hung on the wall. Its ticking had stopped years ago. The hands still moved. A woman kept it anyway. She liked the silence. At night, She noticed time differently. Breath measured moments, not numbers. Once, a friend asked why she never fixed it. She shrugged. It still passes, she said. Her sleep grew gentler after that. Less chasing, more floating. Tonight, you may let time move quietly. You do not need to hear every second. Story 35. The laundry left overnight. Clean laundry lay folded on the couch. Unput away. Soft. Patient. A man sat nearby. Exhausted. He planned to finish everything. He did not. Instead, he lay down. The laundry waited. In the morning, it was still there. Nothing had spoiled. That night taught him something. Completion is kind, but rest is kinder. Tonight, unfinished things can wait. They know where you left them. Story 36. The river bench. A bench faced a slow river. Water moved without effort, always forward. An older woman visited daily. She brought no book, only time. Her worries floated past like leaves. Some sank, some disappeared around bends. A child once asked what she was doing. Listening. She said, "To what?" "To moving on." She replied, "Tonight, you may sit by your own river. Nothing asks you to follow. Watching is enough." Story 37. The envelope never opened. An envelope sat in a drawer, unopened, addressed. A man feared its contents for years. He imagined outcomes endlessly. One night, he realized something simple. The imagining hurt more than the knowing. He did not open it that night. He slept anyway. The next day, the envelope still waited, but its weight had changed. Tonight, you may rest before knowing. Sleep does not require resolution. Story 38. The warm bowl of soup. A bowl of soup steamed gently on the table. Nothing fancy, just warm. An elderly caretaker served it slowly. She had learned pace through loss. Heat stays longer when rushed less, she said. The listener nodded. Sipping carefully. Tonight, take warmth slowly. There is no prize for speed. Story 39. The ladder in the shed. A ladder leaned quietly in a shed, used only when needed. A man once climbed constantly. Titles, goals, approval, now retired. He noticed the ladder resting. It seemed content. You do not always need height. Right, he whispered to himself. Tonight, you may stand on the ground. Rest does not ask for elevation. Story 40. The room with dimmed lights. The lights were dimmed intentionally. Not off, just softer. An old teacher prepared for evening meditation. He liked seeing less. Sharp light keeps the mind sharp. In as well, he once said, and sharp things cut. Ease in the dimness. Thoughts rounded, edges softened. He sat, breathing easily, nothing to defend. Tonight, let the lights lower inside. You are safe enough to rest. Story 41. The teacup that stayed warm. A teacup rested between two hands. Steam rose slowly, then thinned. The night air was cool and quiet. An elderly woman sat alone at her table. Not lonely, just listening to the house settle. For years, she drank tea quickly, between tasks, between worries. Now, she held the cup longer. She noticed the warmth travel into her palms. Her shoulders dropped without instruction. She remembered a teacher from long ago. He had watched her rush once, He said nothing at first. Then he touched the cup gently. "Tea does not hurry," he said. "Tonight." She let the tea cool naturally. She drank when ready. Nothing else waited. Her thoughts softened like steam. They rose, then disappeared. As sleep approached, she smiled quietly. Warmth does not leave suddenly. It fades kindly, when allowed. Story 42. The gate that opened inward. A small wooden gate stood at the edge of a yard. Paint chipped. Hinges creaked softly. Most gates opened outward. This one opened inward. An old gardener liked it that way. "It reminds me," he said. Each evening, he closed it gently, not to keep anything out, to mark a pause. After years of tending others' needs, he learned to return to himself slowly. When asked why he chose that gate, he answered without pride, "So I remember where I am entering. I know thing. Tonight, you may close your own gate softly, not in defense, but in return." Story 43. The lamp in the hallway. A small lamp glowed in the hallway. It stayed on all night, just enough light to walk safely. A man once tripped, often in the dark. He blamed fatigue. He blamed age. Then he placed the lamp there. Nothing else changed. His steps grew calmer. His body trusted the way. He realized guidance does not need brightness, only steadiness. Tonight, you may keep one gentle light. You do not need to see far, just enough to rest. Story 44. The notebook with empty pages. A notebook lay open on the desk. Most pages were blank. A woman once feared empty space. She filled calendars. She filled silence. Now, she left pages open, not forgotten, just waiting. A teacher once told her, "Nothing written is also information." I froze. That night, she closed the notebook gently. Her mind followed. Tonight, your thoughts do not need filling. Space is allowed to remain space. Story 45. The chair by the window. A chair faced the window, unused for years. Dust gathered patiently. An elderly man moved it closer one evening, not for a reason, just because. He sat and watched evening arrive. Colors softened, shapes blurred kindly. He realized he had been standing too long. In life, in thought, the chair held him without comment. Tonight, you may sit without purpose. Support does not require explanation. Story 46. The clock that ran slow. A wall clock ran a little slow. Always had. A woman stopped correcting it. She learned its rhythm. Her days adjusted gently. Less pressure. More room. When asked why she kept it, she said, "It reminds me I am not late. I foe tonight. You are not behind. Rest keeps its own time." Story 47. The shoes left untied. Shoes sat by the bed. Laces loose. A small decision. A big relief. A tired worker once tied everything tight. Schedules. Expectations. Now, he loosened one thing each night, starting with shoes. His feet thanked him. Then his breath followed. Tonight, loosen what you can. Tightness is not required for care. Story 48. The cupboard light. A cupboard light flicked on softly, just enough to see inside. An older cook opened it slowly. No searching, no rush. Meals had become simpler. So had choices. He smiled at the quiet order. Nothing extra, nothing missing. Tonight, you may look gently within. You do not need everything, only what nourishes. Story 49. The long exhale. A long exhale filled the room. Unplanned, unforced. An elder noticed it and smiled. "Ah," he said quietly. "Years ago, he learned to breathe on purpose. Now, breath arrived by itself. He trusted that. Tonight, let breath do the work. You are allowed to follow." Story 50. The bed that waited. The bed waited patiently in the dim room. No judgment, no demand. An old teacher sat on its edge. He bowed slightly. "Thank you," he whispered. He lay down without effort. Sleep met him halfway. Tonight, rest is already waiting. You do not need to earn it. Story 51. The drawer that closed gently. A wooden drawer slid closed with a soft sound. Not pushed, not slammed, just guided home. An older craftsman stood in his quiet workshop. The day's tools lay where they had fallen. Nothing perfectly arranged. Nothing left in chaos. For many years, he believed order meant control. Every tool aligned. Every task finished before rest. At night, his mind stayed open like that drawer. Thoughts spilled out. Plans rearranged themselves endlessly. One evening, his teacher visited. The man apologized for the clutter. The teacher opened a drawer slowly, then closed it just as slowly. "That is enough," he said. The craftsman watched carefully. Something in his chest loosened. That night, he closed the workshop as it was. He did not correct. He did not review. Sleep came like the drawer. Not sudden, just complete. Tonight, you may close one inner drawer gently. Nothing needs sealing, just resting. Story 52. The roadside stone. A smooth stone rested beside a long road. Cars passed. People hurried. An elderly walker paused there daily. He sat without checking the time. The stone had been there longer than him. It did not mind waiting. One day, a traveler asked why he stopped. "There is nothing here," the traveler said. The old man touched the stone lightly. "It is not going anywhere," he replied. They sat together briefly. The road did not disappear, but it felt quieter. That night, the traveler slept without rushing dreams. Tonight, you may sit beside what does not hurry. Stillness teaches without words. Story 53. The bowl of water by the door. A bowl of water sat by the door, placed there for dusty feet. An old woman refreshed it each evening, even when no one visited. "Why keep it full?" someone once asked. "So I remember, welcome," she said softly. Her life had known endings, departures, rooms emptied. Still, the bowl stayed, clear, patient. At night, she washed her own hands there. The water cooled her thoughts. Tonight, you may offer yourself welcome. You have arrived already. Story 54. The blanket folded twice. A blanket lay folded at the foot of the bed. Once would have been enough. She folded it twice anyway. Not from worry, from care. An elderly nurse had folded many blankets in her life. For strangers, for family. Now, retired. Her hands remembered. One night, she unfolded it slowly, let it rest as it wished. She lay down without arranging anything else. That night, her dreams were simple, soft edges, no alarms. Tonight, let comfort unfold naturally. Care does not need perfection. Story 55. The path behind the house. A narrow path curved behind a small house. Overgrown, quiet. An old man walked it each dusk. No destination, just movement. Years earlier, he walked only toward goals. Now, he walked toward breath. One evening, his granddaughter joined him. "Where does this go?" she asked. He smiled. "Back," he said. They walked together in silence. Tonight, you may walk nowhere special. Returning is also progress. Story 56. The cup rinsed clean. A cup was rinsed under warm water. No scrubbing, just flow. An elder monk watched soap disappear. He enjoyed this part most. "Why?" a student asked. "Nothing clings," the monk said. The cup dried on its own. No towel needed. That night, the student slept deeply. Tonight, let thoughts rinse through. They do not need holding. Story 57. The quiet radio. A radio played softly in the kitchen. Low volume, almost background. An old widower kept it on. Not for information, for company. Some nights, he did not listen at all. Still, it helped. One evening, he turned it off, sat in silence, smiled. The silence stayed kind. Tonight, sound or silence may accompany you. Neither demands attention. Story 58. The shoes on the porch. Shoes rested on the porch overnight. Dew gathered on them by morning. An elderly woman left them there intentionally. "They breathe," she said. Her days once felt suffocating. Deadlines, expectations. Now, even shoes were allowed rest. Tonight, let something breathe, including you. Story 59. The calendar with fewer marks. A calendar hung on the wall. Few days marked. An older accountant stopped filling it. He knew the dates anyway. Seeing less helped him remember more. How light felt. How evenings sounded. Tonight, you may release counting. Time will still hold you. Story 60. The pillow adjusted once. A pillow was adjusted once, then left alone. An old teacher lay down quietly. "No more searching," he said. Sleep arrived like agreement. Tonight, one small adjustment is enough. Rest meets you where you stop. Story 61. The light left in the kitchen. The kitchen light stayed on after dinner. Not bright, just enough to soften corners. An elderly man leaned against the counter. Plates were drying by themselves. No rush followed him anymore. For years, lights were turned off quickly. Efficiency mattered. Silence felt suspicious. Now, the glow felt like company. It filled the room without asking questions. He remembered nights when worry paced faster than sleep. When he turned lights off to force rest, it never worked. One evening, a visiting monk noticed the light. "You forgot it," the monk said gently. "No," the man replied. "I left it." Vodi. They stood quietly together. The light did not demand attention. It simply stayed. That night, the man slept before the light was off. It kept watch without effort. Tonight, you may leave one small light on inside. Rest does not need darkness to begin. Story 62. The slow stir of the spoon. A wooden spoon moved through warm soup. Slow circles. Even pace. An old cook stirred without thinking ahead. Dinner was simple. Time felt wide. Long ago, he rushed meals. Ate standing. Mind elsewhere. Now, stirring was the meal. The scent, the warmth. A younger helper once asked, "Why so slow?" The cook smiled. "The soup knows when it's ready." He said. Steam rose, then settled. Nothing burned. That night, the helper slept deeply. Dreams came without hurry. Tonight, let things finish themselves. You do not need to rush readiness. Story 63. The mail left unopened. Mail rested on the small table by the door. An envelope lay on top, unopened. A woman passed it several times. Her chest tightened each time. Finally, she sat down, not to open it, just to sit. Years ago, she learned something hard. Fear grows faster than truth. An old teacher once told her, "Night is not for answers." She touched the envelope lightly, then left it there. Sleep arrived quietly that night. The envelope did not follow her. Tomorrow remained possible. Tonight, not everything needs opening. Rest can come first. Story 64. The cushion near the wall. A meditation cushion sat near the wall. Not centered, not perfect. An elder preferred it there. The wall felt steady. When asked why, he answered simply, "I lean sometimes." Its age had taught him honesty. Strength and softness lived together. That evening, he sat briefly, not to achieve calm, just to arrive. He leaned back slightly. The wall received him. That night, his sleep was deep. Nothing had to stand alone. Tonight, you may lean. Support is not failure. Story 65. The fan turned low. A ceiling fan turned slowly above the bed, barely moving the air. A tired teacher adjusted it once, then stopped touching it. Years ago, he controlled every detail. Temperature, timing. Now, enough felt clear. The fan hummed softly. A steady companion. Sleep came without effort. Tonight, set things to gentle. Let the rest move on its own. Story 66. The bookmarked page. A book lay open on the nightstand. One page, marked, unread. An older reader closed it carefully. Not disappointed, just done. He remembered a monk saying, "Wisdom does not run away." Oh, the page waited patiently. That night, the story continued in dreams. Tonight, you do not need to finish. Understanding knows where to wait. Story 67. The porch swing. A porch swing moved slightly in the breeze. No one pushed it. An elderly couple once sat there nightly. Now, only one remained. Still, the swing moved. Memory and air together. The man sat and breathed. Loss did not rush him. The swing slowed, then rested. That night, grief softened. Not gone, just held. Tonight, let motion fade naturally. Stillness will come when ready. Story 68. The cup filled halfway. A cup was filled halfway with water. Not more, not less. A monk placed it down carefully. Enough to drink, he said. A visitor looked uncertain. The monk smiled. Spilling comes from excess, he added gently. That night, the visitor slept easily. Tonight, half may be enough. Balance, invite rest. Story 69. The street after rain. Rain had passed through the street. Pavement glistened quietly. An older woman walked slowly. She liked the smell after rain. Reflections shimmered without holding shape. Just light and water. She breathed deeply. Nothing pressed forward. That night, sleep reflected her breath. Gentle, clear. Tonight, let things wash through. Nothing needs gripping. Story 70. The door closed softly. A door closed with a soft click. Not locked, just shut. An old teacher stood still afterward, listening. This is enough for today. Oh, plain, he said quietly. He turned toward rest without regret. Tonight, you may close the day gently. Nothing important is left behind. Story 71. The lamp that was never turned off. The lamp in the corner had been on for years. Not bright, not dim, just steady. An elderly man lived alone in the small house. He liked knowing the room was never completely dark. Not from fear, from familiarity. Long ago, his nights were restless. Thoughts lined up like unpaid bills. Regrets spoke louder after sunset. He once tried sleeping in total darkness. People said it was better, quieter, more proper. But his body resisted. His breath stayed shallow. Sleep hovered, but never landed. One evening, an old friend visited, a monk who had aged alongside him. They drank tea without hurry. The friend noticed the lamp. "You leave it on," he said gently. "Yes," the man replied. "It reminds me I'm not lost." "If forces," the monk nodded. "Darkness does not require bravery," he said. "Only trust." 1/7. The man thought about that long after. He realized the lamp was not a shield. It was permission. Permission to rest imperfectly. Permission to be awake sometimes. Permission to be human. That night, the lamp stayed on as always. But something else turned off. The need to judge himself. Sleep arrived in waves. Light, then deeper. In the early hours, he stirred briefly. The lamp still glowed. Nothing had gone wrong. He whispered into the quiet. "Thank you for staying. I am sorry. Tonight, you may leave a small light on inside. Rest does not demand total darkness. It comes when you feel safe enough to soften." Story 72. The jacket left on the chair. A jacket rested on the back of a chair. Not hung up, not folded. An older woman noticed it each night. She left it there on purpose. All her life. She put things away properly. Clothes, feelings, words she never said. Order made her feel capable, but it also made her tired. One evening, she came home late. Her body ached. Her mind felt thin. She placed the jacket on the chair. She sat beside it and did nothing else. Her mother's voice appeared in memory. "Finish what you start," it said. Another voice followed, softer, her own. "You can rest first." Well, so, the jacket waited patiently. It did not feel neglected. It felt trusted. The woman lay down that night without fixing anything. Sleep surprised her. It came early. In the morning, the jacket was still there. Nothing had fallen apart. She smiled and said quietly, "Some things can wait." Moth. Tonight, you may leave something unfinished. Rest does not check your work. It only asks if you are willing to stop. Story 73. The window with no view. The window faced another building. Brick and shadows. No sky. An elderly tenant lived in that apartment. He opened the window every night anyway. Neighbors asked why. "There's nothing to see," they said. He smiled. "I'm not looking," he replied. Fresh air entered slowly. City sounds softened. The man remembered years of striving, always wanting a better view, a higher floor, Now, he liked this one. It asked nothing. At night, he stood by the window, breathing, listening. He did not imagine elsewhere. He stayed. Sleep found him standing once. He woke smiling. Tonight, you do not need a better view. Breath is enough scenery. Rest happens where you stand. Story 74. The table set for one. A small table stood near the kitchen window. One plate, one cup. An older widower set it each evening, carefully, respectfully. At first, the emptiness hurt. He rushed meals to avoid feeling it. Later, he slowed down. He placed the fork neatly. He sat fully. An old teaching returned to him. Eat with your whole life. It said. He did, and the ache softened. That night, he spoke quietly to the empty chair. I'm still here. In turn, sleep answered by arriving gently. Tonight, you may sit with what is. Presence fills spaces that absence cannot. Story 75. The stairs, taken slowly. A staircase creaked with every step. The elder took them slowly now. Years ago, he ran up them, late for everything. Now, each step had weight and meaning. Halfway up, he rested, hand on the railing, breathing. He remembered a monk once saying, "Hurrying is forgetting where you are." It saned. He smiled at the step beneath him. That night, sleep climbed down to meet him. Tonight, take steps slowly inside. You do not need to arrive quickly. Story 76. The bowl returned to the shelf. A bowl was washed and returned to the shelf. Not placed carefully, just returned. An elderly cook watched water drip from his hands. He liked the ending of tasks. But tonight, he did not review the day. He let it end unevenly. He whispered, "It is done enough." My braided. Sleep agreed. Tonight, let today rest where it is. Completion does not need perfection. Story 77. The chair that rocked once. A rocking chair moved slightly, then stopped. An older woman noticed the pause. She did not push it again. Her body knew when motion ended. Her mind followed. She slept without dreams that night. Tonight, when motion fades, let it. Stillness arrives naturally. Story 78. The door left unlocked. A door was closed, but not locked. The house was quiet. An elder trusted the night. Not blindly, but calmly. He slept deeply. Tonight, you may loosen vigilance. Nothing is asking you to guard everything. Story 79. The cup placed down. A cup was placed on the table. Hands released it fully. An old teacher nodded. Yes, he said. That night, the student slept soundly. Tonight, you may place your thoughts down. They will be there tomorrow. Story 80. The breath that needed no help. Breath moved in and out by itself. The elder noticed, then stopped noticing. Sleep followed. Tonight, let what knows how to rest. Rest. You do not need to assist it. The stories can rest now. They have done their quiet work. Nothing more needs to be understood tonight. Your body knows this hour. It has been preparing all along. Muscles soften without instruction. Thoughts may still drift by. Let them pass like distant cars. No need to follow the sound. You are allowed to stop holding. Allowed to stop listening closely. Allowed to simply be carried. Breath moves in its own rhythm. Slow, reliable, kind. The night does not ask questions. It only offers space. wide and patient. If sleep comes quickly, welcome it. If it comes slowly, that is fine too. Rest begins either way. Nothing important is missing. Nothing needs fixing right now. You are safe enough to let go. Stay with this softness. Let it deepen on its own, like sinking gently into warm water. The night will keep watch for you. You may drift. You may fade. You may sleep.